Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are all doing amazing. I want to thank you all for your love and support because it means absolutely the most to me. And I am back to give you guys a part 3, and this involves after my escape and how I was blamed for my mother's death, inshallah, which I know now that I'm not to blame. But at the time, I think that traumatized me more than what actually happened. So as soon as I escaped and landed in Mogadishu, I was cradled by my 2 beautiful aunties, who I kind of consider my superheroes, because they went out of their way to help and protect and keep me safe. So anyway, when I arrived, oh my God, the man that I ran away from called my auntie. He called me, but my auntie Shamsa picked up, and because we have the same name, my guy assumed that he was talking to me. So when she picked up, he was like, oh, he's like, yeah, why? Like, who's this? And she goes, it's Shamsa. And as soon as he said that, he went on a rant. He was like, oh, I'm going to arrest you. How dare you leave? What, you're going to rot in prison? My auntie's like, no, not today. No. Who are you talking to? She's like, you're talking to the wrong person. And you should not be speaking to her like that. Anyway, I absolutely adore them, wallahi. Because it was the first time I felt like someone was actually behind me. And I was so amazed that it was a woman, because I was surrounded by women before and they weren't, as protective. Anyway, whilst I was in the arms of my 2 aunties, I kind of was getting hints that my mother was unwell. I wasn't being told what was actually wrong. And the reason for that was because she told everyone in the family that they shouldn't, because I'm an emotional human being and I will break down. So she decided to keep it a secret. Eventually, I got on a plane with my brother, and whilst I was on the plane, he turns around and he says, oh, by the way, just to let you know, my mum's got a brain tumor and she hasn't got long to live. Sorry, I'm stuttering, yeah? She hasn't got long to live. When I tell you, I couldn't comprehend what he was telling me, but then I realized that everything that was being said to me throughout my stay in Somalia, I kind of understood, okay, now I know what I felt like was being hidden from me. Anyway, I landed and I made it my mission to go to the hospital. When I went to the hospital, and it was in central London, I went and there was a lady who was a friend of my mom's, and they grew up together, and the family were really close, our family and hers. I went in to see my mom for the first time in a year, and when I tell you, I could not recognize my own mother. The cancer took over her completely. She was like a light-skinned woman, right? And she was completely dark. She was dark, she was swollen. And the most memorable thing that I cannot take out of my head till this day is the effect that brain tumors have on a person. Like, cancer, when I say I never thought for a second that one person in my family would ever be diagnosed with that shit. Never. Nah. The most memorable thing about seeing my mom for the first time in that condition was her eyes. It was her eyes, because, and I don't know what to compare it to, but it just went like, it just went like back and forth, but so quick that it didn't seem like a person was capable of that type of eye movements. and I completely broke down. Wallahi, it broke me to see my mum in that condition. And out of the room, and this lady who I said was really close to my mum turned around and decided to share with me that 2 months or 3 months before my mum went into the coma, she said that she came to visit her, and she told her, Shamsa, am responsible for her, like the condition that she's in, the way that she's in. So to come out of a room after a year of not seeing your mum, and to be told that you put her in the condition that she's in, yo, I didn't think that cancer was a disease. I didn't think of any of that. Yo, she hit a spot and it stayed there, and it stays there till this day, okay? So, and she said it so calmly, like so calmly. She said, your mom said out of her own mouth that I brought about a brain tumor. And I know from conversations that I had with my mom before I left to Somalia, and whilst I was there, my mom is not that type of person to go and gossip about her kids to someone else, okay? If it's not like something about school, or she ain't there, nah, she ain't about gossiping about her kids, especially in that manner, yeah? So after that day, again, I broke down. I was in complete shock. And then the next day came, I visited the hospital, and I remember there were 2 women who were sat on the other side of my mom's bed. Basically, was sat down next to my mom. And I remember someone told me, you know, you need to tell your mom, you need to make sure that she knows that you're back, that you're here, you're safe, you know, because that was her like only concern, was your safe return. So I thought, okay, so I sat next to her, and before I sat next to my mom, I was outside the door of the hospital breaking down, and this doctor comes up to me, and obviously she met my sister, but she hasn't met me yet. And obviously I knew this, but she just said, are you her daughter? And I said yes. And she said, on the second day, I was told that my mom had 48 hours to live, and my knees became weak. And I went back into the hospital room, and I sat next to my mom, and I would not shut up. I just kept saying, I love you so, so, so much. I am sorry for everything. Forgive me, because I was told that I did this to her. And telling her to remember to take the Shahada. And I was singing it, and I was repeating it, and I was repeating it, and I was repeating it. And I don't know how long I was sat there. I completely forgot that the women were there. And whilst telling my mom to take her Shahada, because I was told that she had 48 hours to live, the day before being told that I put her there, her eyes, like I told you, it stopped. It stopped, and she looked directly at me. And I don't know, these women must have been observing it, but they were so cruel. And I knew she recognized me when her eyes stopped, and she started tearing up. She started crying. And I kept telling her that I'm safe, that I'm back, and I love her so much. And I'm sorry. And I just kept repeating the same thing, saying, please don't forget to say the Shahada. And I was saying it, and I was saying it, and I was saying it. Her eyes was like looking at me. She was looking at me dead in the eyes for, oh my God, for about five minutes. But it felt like such a short time. These women in the middle of me, because like I said, I forgot that they were there. They got up. They came to the side that I was on. They looked my mum dead in the eyes. And they're like, oh my God, her eyes stopped directly. She's crying. You made her stop. What did you do? What did you say? And I'm like, were you not in the room? Like, what the hell is this? Do you think I'm performing a magic trick? And then one of them had the audacity to say, do it again. And in my mind, I was thinking, how could you make me sit there and make my mother cry while she's on her deathbed? Although everything I'm saying is beneficial for me and is beneficial for her. But to see your mom, who could not stop moving her eyes, look at you dead in the eyes and tear up, and some woman saying, yeah, could you do that again, please? The next day, I visited again. And then the 4th day, visited again. My mom was still alive. The 7th day, whilst I was at home and me and my grandma were on our way to the hospital to visit her, I got a phone call from my sister, who's like hysterical. And I answered and I couldn't make out what she was saying. And she hung up. Like I couldn't understand. We could not understand each other at all. And I think maybe I was trying to block it out. I don't know. I put the phone down. The taxi was outside. As soon as I was about to leave the front door, the phone rang again. Went to pick it up. It was my brother on the other line, and he said, you know, I don't know if you got your sister's call, but oh, he has passed away. Yo, when I tell you that phone went missing, till this day, no one knows. We moved out of that house. No one knows where that phone is. Do you know how I described my mom in the beginning? Yo, she was the total opposite. She was clear and white and light and just, yo, she was, wallahi, I'm not bugging. And I know I wasn't bugging at the time. She was shining, physically glowing. Yeah. And what can I say? I broke down. And, you know, Islamically, it's preferred to bury the person straight away, but that doesn't always happen. My mom died on the 7th, and she was, alhamdulillah, buried on the 8th. So anyway, Islamically, we have 3 days, a 3-day funeral where people get to come and, you know, just come in it. Just come and just be like, sorry, even though they haven't done anything, and the blame went on me. The first day of the funeral, obviously you get to see your mom or your parent or your loved one, and they're taken to the graveyard. And when my mom was taken, I was told that women can't go. I said, there is no way in hell that you're going to tell me that you put my mother 6 feet under and I'm not going to see it with my own eyes. I went there and I had to stand, obviously I couldn't be right there. I had to be a few feet way away. And I had to watch them put my mom on the ground. And just before, I got in the car with a friend of my mom, and just before we were leaving the cemetery, yo, we did not even leave the gates. Wallahi, we did not even leave the gates. And she turns around and says, do you see that grave? It's 6 feet deep. And I said, yeah, I know. And she said, you put her there. I don't know how I got through the rest of the funeral. And the same woman who told me at the hospital on the first day, she was at the funeral as well. And she was introducing this woman to us. I was traumatized. Yo, I was traumatized. And this woman keeps passing people, like, to come to me, making people to come to us and say, you know, Allah Naharisto, and I get the idea, but I don't want to hear it over and over and over again. Like, I don't want to hear it. You forget for a second and you're reminded 10 seconds later. Like, it's not for me. So she comes and she introduces this woman, and, you know, I'm polite and I say, you know, Assalamu alaikum, thank you. That's it. And they walk off, and the woman turns around and she's like, this meaning this is the gangster child, like the troublemaker, so I'll teach you the better one, the nicer one. I was like, what is it with this? Like, I've been through enough, and then to come here and be blamed on the day I saw my mum, on her funeral day, on the second day of her funeral, 11 years later. 11 years. I think for 11 years, out of those 11 years, I was told like 5 times that I caused my mum's death, and that I was Asi Walideen, and that I was Ayar Suqat, and I was never going to amount to anything. And if I had listened to all those voices and all those people, believe you me, I would not be sat in front of you right now. I will not be sat in front of you right now. Alhamdulillah for the life that I have. Because it was my mom. It was my mom that saved my life. And I know now that I can never be blamed. Or even if they do, they can go ahead. That's their dimbi. That's not my dimbi. Alhamdulillah, ya Rab. But there are so many women, and this is why I remain silent for so long. Because how could you be in an environment so toxic that you're being told that you caused the death of a woman who died of cancer? Would have been anything, and it would have been my fault. So people will blame you, people will have an opinion, people will say things to irritate you, but at the end of the day, you know who you are. Okay, you know who you are, and you need to know that you cannot be silenced. And with more stories to come, including me being possessed. Inshallah, I'll see you guys soon, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to be notified of my next video. I love you all. Take